Good day, money lovers! Welcome to another bill searching video. This one's going to be really fun because I hit the mother lode, at least in my opinion. When I usually go to the bank, I try to ask the tellers if they have any $2 banknotes, and sometimes they do. You can usually get straps of fresh twos from any bank that you go to, but in this case, they had $50 in circulated twos. They look like a wide range of them, ranging both in series date and the condition of the note. So I'm really excited to share this video with you guys, going through these $2 notes, see if we find anything worth more than face value, or is at least collectible. So let's start right off. 2009 series, $2 note. Let's see. Nothing really here. It's really beat up. So, like I said, they are all circulated, so maybe nothing going on here. Nothing in the serial number. Little excess of inking there, but super small, so I wouldn't call it anything collectible. Here we go. Nice, really beat up 2003 A series $2 note. Now, this is a good example of how bills are printed. As you can see, the seals and serial numbers are nice and bright still. If I had to guess, yep, the back is not bad, but it's really beat up from just wear and tear. But this kind of attests to how U.S. currency is printed, and, well, abroad from the U.S., other types of currency are printed similarly to this, which is different types of inks are used, and a multi-phase printing process is used. So, different types of ink are used for the back and the seals and the serial numbers than the depiction in the background on the face of U.S. banknotes. So that would give reason to why the rest of this note is faded, but the seals and serial numbers are just nice and bright there, since they're deemed to be the most important part of the note. There's also a shift here, down and to the right, but it's not dramatic enough for me to hold on to. Nothing in the serial number. 2009 series, another one. Good repetition here. What's cool about this one is I noticed right off the bat, look at that 5 there on the end. Nice ticker note. Now you can see that it does not repeat itself up here. What do I mean by a ticker note, you might ask? Good question. I like to call them tickers or odometer notes since it looks like the end of an odometer right here where the 5 is sticking up. Now once again, it needs to be kind of dramatic, and by dramatic I mean it needs to be kind of, well, really a little bit higher than this. It depends on the degree in which it's kind of ticked up, but as you can see, it repeats itself on that 5 as well. So multiple digits of that number roller that lays down the serial number on notes was stuck a little bit when printing this serial number. So that's really interesting. I like that a lot. I think it's a smaller find, but a bit of an error. So I'm going to hold on to that. Another 2003A. So it looks like maybe somebody had a couple of these and turned them in at the same time. Now, let's talk a little bit about what causes that. Now, if it was completely white or missing chunks as opposed to portions of the print in the background, I would say it's an actual error, a misprint error or lack of ink error. However, in this case where you see it's kind of splotchiness throughout it, it's got a lot of dots of where ink was or tried to remain, generally that's going to be a drier note. So kind of like how coins can be affected after being put through the laundromat a bunch of times, quarters specifically. This is what happens to a bill whenever it gets ran through the wash and then through a dryer. The heat from the dryer affects the ink that's used to print the note and depletes it out like this. Now we are pretty close, maybe a digit or two off from a broken ladder, but nothing really on this note aside from some good information on how it got this way. Nice clean back, as I stated before. The ink used for the backs is different. Let's keep on keeping on. 2003A, got a little bit of a ballpoint pen written right here. For a second, I thought we had a stray ink mark. Very similar in how the splotchiness is occurring across this bill. At first glance, you'd be like, oh my gosh, I got a super ink splatter kind of ink smear. But as you can see, the tones of those inks are a little bit shinier, a little bit more metallic than what's used on U.S. currency. Back of the note, pretty decent. Nice shaped back note. 1995 series. Now this one's same dealio. It might have been from the same person who turned these into the bank, possibly. They were going to hold on to the $2 notes since a lot of people love them. A lot of people give them out as gifts and Christmas gifts. I do every Christmas. I give everybody, 20 or 30 bucks in $2 bills, and everyone seems to love that. Nice example of same kind of deal. Now, one thing with this one is this one's more uniform in the way that it's lost its color. But once again, I would say that depletion of color is due to heat being added by a dryer or whatever. Maybe chemicals, some sort of cleaning agent, most likely a dryer note. Really beat up 2003 series $2 note. Now, once again, this depletion in color, kind of grabbing of the color here with all this splotchiness, that's transfer from when it pulled color out of the note and kind of transferred across the bill due to either becoming extremely wet, chemicals, whatever. That one's really beat up, so not going to hold on to that. Another 2003A bill, nothing in the serial number. Kind of same dealio, really worn out. It's showing its age quite a bit. I mean, now this is, a 17-year-old note. So that's something to keep in mind when you look through money is, you would love it to be in perfect condition. However, with the age of some notes, it's just not possible. Now, this one is really interesting. So this is a 1995 series note, but if we get really close to that serial number, we can see it's got a misprint there. It looks like it almost says 1985. Now, with those signatures, I can, of course, determine what series that bill is from, which it is a 1995 bill. Looks a little bit more like it from further away, but that's a nice little misprint there. I really like that, albeit small. The rest of the bill is in okay condition. I mean, it's better condition than the ones we've come across so far in this bill search, so I'm not going to complain. Back of the note, very clean, nothing really going on. A slight little tiny tear there, but I'm not gonna fret about that. I'm gonna put it in a nice plastic container or protector. I like that one. There we go. Here's a fun one. I love me some Where's George bills. If you haven't heard of Where's George, I don't know where you've been. Lots of people love Where's George. It's been around for over 20 years. But it's a nice website where you can track bills. They have changed things up over the last little while, which I don't like the new site. Sorry, Where's George? But I don't like your new site as much as I did over the last 10 or 15 years. But it's a very fun project that tracks bills across the world. So I'm going to take this $2 note because I don't see anything else in the serial number or anything like that. But this 2003 series $2 note, I'll add its serial number onto Where's George, and then I'll kick this bad boy back out into circulation, see if I can keep the chain going a little bit on that Where's George money tracking project. But that's really neat. I love Where's George bills, and I find it very interesting someone utilized a where'sgeorge.com stamp on a $2 note. Now, while I've been yapping, I noticed this next note, really depleted, but once again, a good example of how they're printed. But this is a good old-fashioned date note with October 16th, 1529. Or it could be a double year note, 1016, 1529. But I think that's less acceptable as far as a variety note. Now, this one's really depleted. I would say, once again, it's due to chemicals or a dryer. But missing prints are always something I like to take a closer look at to see if it is in fact an error missing print. But like I said, with the drag of color, the splotching, it gives all the telltale signs of something that heat was introduced to. But it being a date note, a $2 note, and a funky looking one at that, I'm going to hold on to it. Let's check out the back real quick. Pretty clean, little bit of a tear down here, kind of folded up and rolled up a little bit, but I'll flatten that out and I'll put it in a protective sleeve, but I like that one. Here we go, nice older $2 note, 1976 series. Now, these are not necessarily, it's a very large run. This one in particular, I don't see anything to jump for joy about or call home about, anything error related so far. However, the pure age of this note, it being basically 44 years old, I can't add today, 44 years old, makes it just something that I definitely want to hold on to. I just like to think about, in part of collecting money, the history of it. Where has this bill been? All the things it's seen. I mean, My birthday was in 1989, so it was around long before me. And you know, that's just an interesting thing. The other part of it is, of course, the depiction on the back is the painting of the Declaration of Independence by John Trumbull, and it's, 1776 was the signing of the Declaration of Independence, 1976 would be the bicentennial, so I think it's a nice note to hold on to. Here's a very clean 1995 note. I like that. Very good condition. This is what the depiction of the series date should have looked like on that previous one. A nice separation of the bottom portion of that 9 and the upper round portion of the 9 on 1995. On that previous note, we had that misprint, which made it look almost like a 1985. So that's really cool. This is a good example of what it should have looked like. And nothing there. Got ourselves another date note, Series 2003A. Now, 10/25, October 25th, 986. So, it is a birthday note in essence, not for anybody alive today, unless you're a vampire or something, or immortal or whatever, but this is a nice date note, nice birthday note. I'm going to hold on to it for that. I'll look up the date to see if anything historically important happened or any important people were born on that day. But once again, I really like date notes, as well as the fact it's a $2 bill. Another 1976 note. So like I mentioned before, I won't harp on that. I'm going to hold on to it just purely due to the date of it. But the other thing about 1976 series is they were printed slightly different due to the ink itself being a different quality of ink back then, as opposed to, say, a newer two or a newer, newly printed banknote, whether it's the same denomination or not. Nice depiction on the back. Once again, kind of attests to how they are printed and the ink that's used. This is nice and bright on the back, despite being a little bit beat up. Hold on to that. 2003A note again. So I would almost be for certain that these 2003As and 2003 notes that are all depleted out like this, I would say came from the same person and were turned into the bank since they were damaged or whatever. Nothing there. 2003A again. Nothing. The serial number here. What's odd about it, though, is if they are from the same owner, they all have different serial numbers, so that's kind of interesting that they had kind of a grouping of them that went through the same process of being ran through a dryer and, ended up at the same bank. Really beat up 2003A note, taped in the middle. It is acceptable as far as a form of currency and still worth its face value, but in a collectible standpoint, man, is this thing trounced. Look at the sides, it's all beat up, it's really thinned out. This thing has seen its day, it's been wet. So that we're going to pass on that one. 1995 note, really clean again. I would assume this probably got turned in with that other 95 note, seeing as how the conditions are almost identical. But really clean note, really good looking $2 bill. But aside from that, nothing collectible in my eyes. 2003, nothing here. Also kind of depleted, but not nearly as bad as those others. 2003 bill again. Little bit of a shift in the seal here. But once again, you can see that depletion of color and how all these dots of color are dragged along the bill. That's almost always due to becoming moist in a wash and then getting dry cleaned. Kind of lower serial number, but for me, I don't really hold on to low serial numbers unless they start with 4 zeros. So just a rule of thumb, at least for me. This one's an interesting note. They've all been kind of depleted out. Somebody wrote Larry on it, so thanks, Larry. And interesting in color, but nothing really to hold on to. 1995 bill. Close to a broken ladder, but not close enough. Really beat up. Front of the note's kind of gone. Sides are really ate up. So nothing really to talk about there. Yeah, pretty decent looking 1976 series $2 note. Nice shift up in this seal, but unless it's concealing the Washington, D.C., it's not an error. Got ourselves some barbecue sauce or blood or something. Who knows what happened with this bill over its 44-year life. You know, definitely interesting to think about. But another 1976 note, and now that we're looking at the bottom here, actually another 1976 note. Nothing the serial number on that guy either, but much better condition. This 76 note is in the best condition out of the ones we've come across. So I'll hold on to both of those just for the age of them. I love me some Bicentennial 2s. Same dealio here. We came across another 1976 note. This is our 2003A, October 25th, 986 date note. Here is our other 1976 note. Not bad condition, but a really intense fold there on the corner. We got our other date note, which I like a lot because of the depleted color. I think it's interesting. It's a $2 bill. It's got a nice birthday on it. I'm going to hold on to that. I'm not holding on to this one. I'm going to get it back in circulation, but first I'll go over to Where's George and put the serial number to keep that chain going. Our really nice misprint series date. And last but not least, our 2009 series note here with that really nice odometer serial number on the end. So you can see that 5 sticking up. I really like all the finds that we came across. What a great $2 bill search in this bill search video today. I hope you appreciated everything coming out on Variety and Errors in the free coin and bill price guides we've been putting out over the last couple weeks to update things. Let me know what you've come across in your bill and coin searches in the comments below. But like always, much love, good luck in your coin and bill hunting, and I will see you in the next video.